This is how a train was started on its journey once upon a time. Today, well, the picture has changed. The engine driver receives visual signals and the trains Exactly. Faster trains and much greater density of traffic. Have a look, for instance, at the timetable of train arrivals and departures at Stockholm Central Station. During morning and evening rush hours, a train arrives and departs, how often do you think? 1 train a minute. Express trains, slow trains, suburban trains, loaded and empty goods trains, all with or without stops. Different maintenance vehicles, not to forget shunting movements, they all compete for the tracks both at the central station and on the lines. And when one considers that the express trains must arrive without hindrance or delay on the same lines as the slower trains, then one wonders what kind of a person a station master must be to handle all these complex movements. This is how they do it. May we present the effective new electronic tool, CTC, Centralized Traffic Control. At Stockholm Central Station, the Swedish State Railways have a local interlocking machine for controlling the traffic within the central station and local area, and a computerized CTC office for the remote control of the traffic outside this area. The CTC office was designed in 1971 and is one of the first computerized CTC systems in the world. The two offices are situated close together at Central Station. When fully manned, the local interlocking has 4 and the CTC office 5 dispatchers. And from this place all traffic is directed within an area which will ultimately comprise the lines from Stockholm to Avesta, to Köping, to Katrineholm and to Nynäshamn. This makes a total length of track of some 500 kilometers with 100 or so remote controlled stations. This number includes the double crossovers where express trains can overtake slow trains. There are some 700 remote control points and 1,500 signals. In the CTC office, there's a track diagram for the remote-controlled stations and for the line between them. The track diagram is nearly 20 meters in length. The dispatcher receives the information he needs for routing of the trains through lamps on the track diagram. Every lamp represents, for example, a point, a signal, or a track. As the lamp indications relate solely to states of immediate interest, the dispatcher always has a good survey of the entire area without losing any important information. So, dear traveler, you can sit back and take it easy. The dispatcher follows with unerring precision every movement of your train. traffic is automatically controlled so that trains can never be dispatched on conflicting routes, either head-on or through points, nor can they follow one another in the same direction unless the first dispatched train has advanced so far that it's protected by a signal on the track to the rear. So, read your paper in peace and quiet. Every precaution has been taken to make sure that you'll arrive at the right time and without misadventure. From the start of your journey, and as it proceeds, the dispatcher orders the field stations to establish your route. And this is done by keying a series of digits on his keyboard. He first keys the 2-digit number of the field station. A lamp then starts to flash beside the name of the station on the track diagram. He then keys the 2-digit numbers for the first signal and for the last signal on the route. The lamps representing these two signals start to flash, and when, after a glance at the track diagram, the dispatcher sees that the correct instructions have been keyed, he sends the control to the field station by pressing a control button. The digits remain displayed on the keyboard and are automatically erased only when a new control has been keyed. When a control is received at the field station's interlocking, which is connected to the CTC office via an interface, this results in automatic operation of the points on the route and locking of the route. And when this has been done, indications are sent to the CTC office, which sets up on the track diagram a steady green light at the first signal, white lights at the points, and a blue light on the track approaching the last signal. Every third second, the CTC office receives fresh information concerning the state of all appliances at the field stations. And thanks to the local interlocking equipment, a new route can be superimposed on an already established route. This is known as storing. The new route is established after the release of the original route by a train movement. The transmission of information between the CTC office and the field station is done on a single pair of wires per transmission line. The transmission lines are connected via a switching unit to two computers which collect and process the information. Normally, one computer works with the stations to the south and the other with the stations to the north of Stockholm. If anything happens to one computer, the other automatically takes over. The system is therefore very reliable. From the two computers, south and north, the information is forwarded both to the track diagram and to a third computer for an electronic train describer system called ETNS, which displays the description of the trains running through the area. On the track diagram, a red light indicates that the track section is occupied by a train, and the identity of the train is shown by the number display on the track diagram. The train description is transferred automatically between the various displays on the track diagram. There are separate displays on which the dispatcher, by pressing a button, can read the description of a train arriving at a specific position. If he wishes to ascertain where a train is located, he can do so by keying the train description. When a a train enters the control area, its description is fed to the store in the ETNS computer by manual keying at the stations at the ends of the control area or in the CTC office. An additional function of the ETNS computer is PTLS, a programmed train control system with which data of the various types of trains, their timetables and track usage are stored in the computer memory. And when a route is to be established, the computer selects the most appropriate one and automatically transmits the control to the field station. In this way, a large part of the routine duties are performed automatically, and the CTC office staff can devote all of their time to deal with disturbances or alterations of the traffic, such as laying on of extra trains, handling of train delays, or arranging for single-track traffic on certain lines. Alterations of the timetable of a more lengthy character, such as due to work on the tracks, are fed into the ETNS computer from a paper tape reader. Other labor-saving aids are an electric typewriter and a paper tape punch for continuous recording of various events. The typewriter provides the dispatchers with information concerning disturbances which may have affected the system concerning train delays and personnel relief lists and so on. From the tape punch, information can be obtained concerning all train movements during a given period, the number of disturbed indication cycles per station, etc. The punched reports constitute the basis for statistics for evaluation and correction of timetables and for pinpointing of sources of disturbance on the lines. Apart from the transmission of controls and indications for routing of trains, the system is used for certain special tasks, such as remote control of traction power, and via the interlocking machine, the personnel can transmit information to the public on electric signboards through loudspeakers and TV monitors. If a ticket collector is molested at a station, he can issue an alarm to and get help from the CTC office by pressing a discreetly placed button. In wintertime, points are kept free from snow and ice by remote-controlled electric heating. If a wheel box becomes hot during running of the train on the line, the fact is reported to the CTC office by hot box detectors beside the rails. About half of the area controlled from Stockholm Central Station consists of single-track lines. The great advantage of centralized traffic control is that the traffic load of today and of tomorrow can be handled without expensive extension of tracks. The system also saves staff, and this means that the staff remaining at the stations can devote all their time to the service of the public. And irrespective of the irrationality of the human factor, greater reliability is guaranteed, and thus greater personal security for travelers. The Swedish State Railways have CTC installations from ERICSSON in the north to Trelleborg in the south. With the plant delivered by ERICSSON in 1971 to Stockholm Central Station, the Swedish Railways introduced a new generation of CTC equipment. Electronics and the computer-controlled automatic equipment have brought a great saving of time, a more flexible control system, quicker information, the possibility of statistical analysis of the flow of information, and with it all, greater reliability and safety of movement.